Back in March this year, while filming the finale of our Keep Cask Alive campaign with Fuller's, we got to witness the brewing of one of our favourite beers in the world, Fuller's Vintage Ale. This incredible barley wine is brewed at Fuller's historic Griffin Brewery in West London every year, with the hops and malts tweaked a little to give each vintage some unique character. While most is sold that year in cask and bottle, the brewery also secrete away a stash to age out and sell later, which is how, while filming the tasting of this year's edition, we got to sample something very, very special indeed, a bottle of the original vintage ale from 1997. That's a 25-year-old bottle of beer, one of only a few hundred at this point, and retailing around £600. So although it wasn't part of the main shoot or our documentary series, we just couldn't resist filming something to mark the wonderful occasion of cracking one.
Can you believe that it's been just over 6 months since we came down to Fuller's at the very start of filming this series and filmed the brewing of this beer, of 2021 Vintage Ale?
Amazing. It's been an absolute rollercoaster, and what a privilege it's been today to try the very latest and the very first of the offerings.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've just done a really cool tasting. We were sat there opposite Richard Simpson, the maltster. We were sat opposite the owner of Charles Farram with the hops, and of course the brewers talking us through it. So we had the producers, the farmers, everyone. It was an amazing experience in which we tasted the beer that we witnessed so long ago at the start of this. Should we have a taste on camera?
Come on.
Let's do it. And then we'll have a look at this monster next to it. It's crazy because the absolute first whiff you get, it smells really modern. It smells like I've just put a lovely cask pale ale to my nose. Yep. And then as you breathe in more, you get hints of booze, you get hints of raisin, you get hints of digestive biscuit and candied orange and all the stuff you'd expect from a beautiful British barley wine. But that first hint is tropical.
6 months in, it's tropical, it's rich, it's full-bodied, it's complex already.
And as John Keeling would put it, we're drinking potential as well. There's so much that's going to happen to this beer as it ages out, but it's already beautifully complex. There's loads of really bitter orange to it. That kind of tropical note really dies away and leaves you behind with that lovely warming caramel, like burnt caramel, candied orange peel kind of vibes. And it sings with the character of the Olicana and the Opus. It really does. It's a magical a collision of cultures and of ages and of traditions and modernity, like no other kind of beer that's really made in this country. And I hope that the modern cask ale, the way that cask ale's going, I hope it pushes this way with the beautiful new hops we've got along with our traditions.
That's the thing; they're not afraid to look forward. It's a historic beer for Fuller's, but every season they're changing it. They're implementing new things. They're not shying away from different hop varieties.
And you end up with a beautiful forward-thinking beer that's called Vintage Ale and that you could age for years and years and years.
25 years.
25 years. Yeah. Well, should we give that a go? It's the elephant in the room. I started secondary school the year that was brewed. That's absolutely crazy.
I mean, yeah, it's a quarter of a century old, this beer.
Yeah.
And, beer, you don't sort of think of beer like wine, that you would necessarily drink a beer that's 25 years old and expect it to be, an amazing experience. But it is.
Well, let's hold up. Let's give it a go. So let's get rid of this one. Oh, the benefit of a well-greased table.
Slidey table.
We're in the room where the old family owners of Fuller's used to come for their lunches. So it's pretty grand in here with a good slippery table. So this is left over from the tasting. I didn't have my Hermiters with me, so I slipped a cap back on. So this beer, 25 years old. But beers, when they're well made and well packaged, can age beautifully. And I think you'll see as I pour this.
The colour on that, Johnny.
The colour, the conditioning, look at that.
Oh.
A lot of aged beers, they'll lose their head, they'll lose their carbonation. But that looks fresh, it looks new. Maybe a little bit darker, of course, because oxidation makes beer a little bit darker. Crystal clear, drop bright, lovely ruby colour. Unbelievable.
Yeah, so ruby, isn't it?
Yeah, lovely red colour.
The head on that is incredible.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, 25 years and it still looks like a brand new beer. But it does not smell like one.
Nope.
You know, if you put that under my nose in a blind taste test, I'd have said that was a barrel-aged beer. It's got a real oaky edge to it, which I think will come from the yeast and, you know, the sheer age of the yeast. It's not like autolysis, which is Marmite. It's like oaky and rich and woody. And it, you know, plays really well with the sherry kind of element. You know, if you blindfolded me, not a blind taste test, but a blindfold, I'd probably say that was a sherry.
Yeah.
It smells unreal, really sweet and really oaky. You just drank about 15 quid's worth of beer there, Brad.
Oh, don't I know it? Feels it.
Yeah. It's simultaneously super complex and has a really light and easy finish because all the bitterness is gone, the sweetness has been enhanced as a result, lots more fermentations happened, all the sort of semi-fermentable sugars have become fully fermentable and fermented out, so it's lighter and drier on the finish, but still it carries so much complexity and sweetness that comes from the oxidation in the booze.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Like, it's so well rounded. There's nothing in that that's sort of taking you off in any sort of slightly unpleasant angles. It's just creamy deliciousness.
It's beautifully aged. I think
It is.
You know, you start to understand these phrases that you heard on the telly as a kid and didn't understand about wine, where they go, "Oh, it's aged beautifully." Like, I kind of know what that means now. Like, everything comes slowly into harmony and into perfect balance.
So
Whereas,
smooth.
yeah, the fresh beer, you know, it had bitterness to it, it had angles to it. This, oh my days, it just washes over your palate and it's gone, leaving behind ghosts of candied fruit, ghosts of caramel and of sherry and of old wood, oak cabinets, oak tables, veneer. It's just, it makes me want to write poetry and eat cheese and go to bed.
Pure decadence in a glass, Johnny.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
It's safe to say we really enjoyed the 1997, but at £600 we're not sure it's justifiable for everyone. Luckily though, there are still thousands of bottles of younger vintages, and from around 5 years old, many vintage ales have the character we found here, so grab yourself something around that age to experience what we did. We'd also heartily recommend buying a few each year to try fresh and a few years later, try it aged. If you want to learn more about aging beer, including the processes and how to store it correctly, we have a whole video on how to do it right, as well as an in-depth chat with John Keeling, the former head brewer at Fuller's who brewed many of the vintage ales. You should also check out the original series this footage is from, all about the wonderful traditions of cask ale brewing in the UK, called Keep Cask Alive.